Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and throughout the course of the past couple of years, we've all seen some really strange things done by some uniquely terrible people that could be classified as unhinged if stated only in the most generous of terms. Between Alex Maurer with the mass DMCAs, H. Berdiev with his supreme arrogance, sock puppet accounts, and laundry list of asset flips, Robert and James Romine and their redefining the term vexatious litigation, Dallas of Dallas Review's abuse of the DMCA, Silicon Echo and their 173 asset flip titles and over a dozen sock puppet accounts, and Dentola Studios' abuse of the DMCA, we've gone through a lot, and somehow the channel has always emerged from the other side of the battlefield stronger than it was before. But there is one person who has done as much as he possibly can to continue to be as much of a venomous individual as possible, Andrew Watt. And for those of you that aren't aware, Andrew Watt has a long and despicable history when it comes to me and my channel. In fact, Andrew Watt was the inspiration for the Dirty Devs series on this channel. A full rundown of all past behavior would in itself take longer than a normal video here, so I'll just keep it boiled down to the highlights. And my first video was in regards to Andrew Watt's game that is on your screen now, Blood of Old. I had produced a video outlining how he had threatened legal action against a Steam user for having the gall to talk about how terrible the game was. All of the normal hijinks ensued, including Watt's mass deletion of Steam discussion posts, flagging my Steam review as abuse, and engaging in his own favorite thing on the entire planet, crying defamation at the drop of a hat. Watt then issued a complete non-apology, and that should have been that. However, even after Watt's non-apology, he issued a defamation complaint against my video outlining his despicable behavior, which made the video non-viewable in the UK for a period of 3 months, while during that time, I fought hard to overturn YouTube's automated takedown of the video in that region. Since then, Watt had threatened multiple defamation lawsuits against me, threatened DMCA takedowns, which never emerged because as moronic as he is, apparently even he's not quite as stupid as an asset flipper, and actively collaborated with Alex Maurer to spam my channel with fraudulent privacy complaints that were more of a battle than they should have been to get overturned. Now, as a result of Watt's continued actions against myself and his behavior towards his own games community, he saw his developer relationship with Valve terminated and his game removed from the Steam storefront. The MCN that Watt worked for as an account manager parted ways with him, and it would seem that his career within the industry was brought down around his own ears through his own actions and bad behavior. Watt, of course, blamed me for everything, again threatening me with lawsuits, and even claimed I was responsible for his becoming an alcoholic at one point. And as I said, that's just the barest of overviews. It would probably take me half an hour or more to go into things with any form of real detail, but suffice to say, Andrew Watt is not a very nice person, and such whenever I list off some of the worst that Steam has spawned, Andrew Watt is within that list, and such was the case with Friday's video in which I discussed how an asset flipper attempted to take down Zastor99's channel by abusing the flagging system within YouTube. Within that video, I listed off several names, including Andrew Watt's, and that was something that he apparently takes extreme exception to, as evidenced by his email to me that I woke up to Saturday morning, in which he wrote the following. Attached, you will find a cease and desist against your stalking/harassment activities of myself. It has been 6 months with no provocation or reason to use my full legal name at this time, yet you continue to do so. These actions are becoming too much and are subject to violation of UK law. This email/letter constitutes your final warning before other remedies are taken. Any communications in this email are not authorized to be shared, and any sharing/public coverage of this email and cease and desist will provoke immediate legal ramifications.
Data. Data, why are you laughing?
And attached was a Word document of all things that you should see on your screen now, in which Watt had apparently found a cease and desist template online and used that without even completely adjusting it to fit the situation, was incapable of using proper language, used my YouTube pseudonym, and basically, as could be expected, was utterly incapable of doing anything right at all. The exact template was found by Whiskers, a member of Sentinels of the Store, who found it when, and I quote, "I was looking to see if there is any UK law about sending C&Ds improperly or maliciously and found it." And while I was completely unconcerned about Watt's latest attempt to bully me into silence, I was curious if he even had a pot to piss in, as I'm not one that is familiar with UK law, and so I leveraged my Twitter followers, and thanks to one of the channel's followers, Aaron, I was put in touch with an actual UK attorney, and this is what he had to say. Based on what I've read in the attachments you have provided, I can say with confidence that this cease and desist letter has not been looked at by a lawyer who is licensed in the UK. I'm sure this will not come as news to you, seeing the poor quality of this letter. By UK law, the name SidAlpha has no legal weight to it, as it is not the name seen on your birth certificate or passport or any other official document that would be recognized by a court. Even if you did sign this document, you would not be bound by law to abide by it. Also, the use of the term perpetrator is not a term that could or should be used in any letter being sent to a party who has not stood before a court. Even then, this term is not used. I can assume that Mr. Watt is not well educated in his country's law and is attempting to pass this off as a legitimate order, which it most certainly is not. The fact that Mr. Watt has chosen to use his name, Andrew Watt 96, on Steam and Twitter officially disqualifies him from claiming any sort of violation in regards to his privacy, as he disclosed that information himself in a public domain. As a result, Mr. Watt cannot claim a violation of Article 8 on the European Convention of Human Rights. It's the exact same as putting your full name on Facebook along with your phone number and then receiving text messages from complete strangers. You cannot say they have violated your privacy because you put that information out there. A right to privacy also has the responsibility of not disclosing attached to it. If you wish to protect your privacy, you have a responsibility to not intentionally disclose any private information about yourself. UK law protects a citizen from having their image disclosed in some cases. The sharing of an image of a UK citizen that has not been shared by the citizen themselves or without their consent is a criminal offense. A name is not protected under these same laws. For reference, I have supplied some of the links that detail social media laws in the UK. I again must stress the fact that Mr. Watt publicly disclosed his own name disqualifies him from claiming any violation of privacy. And I will list the links to that referenced material down below for anyone interested, but the reason why I even decided to do a video on this is because there are some things in life that simply must be fought against. Andrew Watt has attempted to do anything and everything he can to cause harm to me and my channel out of a perverse sense of revenge, still failing to comprehend that all of the troubles that befell him were merely a direct result of his own actions. Yes, I will admit that my channel and my videos help to shine a light on Watt's actions, but that is all. If there was no shady behavior to begin with, then nothing would need to have been said. Watt has become trapped in a cycle of destruction of his own making, and the simple fact that he was even aware of that brief reference within Friday's videos shows that he does regularly watch my content. I can't imagine the sort of mindset that takes, but I can't imagine it to be a very healthy one. So I present this situation to you, my dear viewer, and anyone else for that matter, of what happens when you deal with a bully like Andrew Watt. Everything he says, everything he does is an attempt to subjugate another. Even when faced with a situation where they're not in a position of strength or authority, this mentality is literally all they know, and it speaks even more clearly that sites like Steam do need better curation, not only when it comes to the games on their storefront, but also with those they do business with. Andrew Watt is a person that cannot let go of me because of what he thinks I did to him, even though it was only through his own actions that this all came to pass. But he's not alone in that mindset. Asset flippers and dirty devs abound on the Steam storefront, and even those as venomous and vitriolic as Andrew Watt are merely a dime a dozen when it comes to Steam's business partners. And while I'm sure this will by no means be the last time that Andrew Watt will attempt to throw his non-existent weight around, it is because of him and others like him and their actions that makes calling out their deplorable behaviors so important. The gaming industry is evolving, and it has become an industry where responsible consumers can no longer afford to simply buy a game because it's good. They must also take into account the developer's actions in relation to that game and their customers. But when you buy a game, one must now also consider who and what it is that they are allowing to continue doing business. The gaming industry is singularly terrible to its customer base when compared to any other legitimate industry in the world, and those like Andrew Watt are one of the larger reasons why. But who knows, maybe I'm just shoving a square peg into a round hole. Regardless, bullying tactics and harassment will not win any favors and will be called out for the terrible behavior that it is. And I hope this video at least goes to show Andrew once again out of nearly a dozen times that I will not be bullied, I will not be dictated to, and I will not be controlled by the likes of you. Of course, feel free to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.